Okay, everything's on the record, Randy, so you can talk about that story about the Ku Klux Klan you were
I
telling us.
knew
Yeah.
Sounds like a great
Yeah.
spot to start
Oh,
the
it's a
cold
great, yeah,
open.
it's a great way
Yeah,
to
okay.
start it.
Yeah. I mean, I am down in the South here, so it's
That's true, but you're in the you're in the part of Florida I actually want to go to. Not the part
yeah.
where all
Yeah.
the like Miami is. You're in the part on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah, and they have a saying down here. It's like the more north you go, the more south it gets in Florida. So I'm kind of in southern Florida, so it's yeah. But you don't have to drive too far before it gets a little weird.
Uh,
I mean, we were pretty close to your neck of the woods when we met up while I was down there, right?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, because you
It really
guys,
was.
were you in Clearwater? I think was it, or were you in St. Pete?
Yes,
I
I
can't remember
think.
where we met in. Yeah, yeah, it was
okay.
great. Making my
Yeah, it really
rounds,
was.
just meeting everybody in the Retrotopia
All right.
community.
Brian, you're next, man.
I got back from the bar. I had wings and I had suicide wings. So my
Mm,
You're a
guts are
little
like,
red.
yeah, they're turning a little bit. So
yeah.
rubbing my belly makes me feel a little bit better. Not to
Oh,
Uh,
mention, I'm 6 beers deep. And once we're
mhm.
done this, I'm going to go finish the other 3 I have in the house. Um, God, tell me I'm wrong, both of you.
okay.
When your spouse, your
You're wrong.
wife, your girlfriend, your whatever, the person you are enamored to, rubs your belly, you just go to this transcendent world where everything is fine.
It's
Oh, I
great.
pretty much, yeah, I purr like a cat. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah, see why dogs kick their leg. I get it.
oh,
No,
totally.
absolutely. Like if I had the muscle movement still being so old, I might do the same thing.
Yeah, throw my hip out.
My go-to is usually stroke the beard, but I was just telling you, Brian, before we started, I got chopped. I got like nothing.
Mm.
He
Oh
went
yeah,
way
it's
too
just
short. I hate this. I keep like reaching and it's not there.
like longer than my beard, and yeah, you
Oh,
look
it
like
was down.
nothing.
It was here.
Why
I'm
did you
so
do it? I saw you posted a picture of you with a
re-
goatee, and I wanted to punch you in the face.
The
dude. That
driver's
picture was
license
like,
photo.
oh yeah, that was like early 20s, man. That was years ago.
Oh God,
But
like
those cracked me up.
Oh my gosh.
that was
I
good
stand
times.
by it. I look like a diglet in my driver's license
A
photo. It's
Diglett.
terrible.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh, I love it.
I also want to say on record, man, you guys did a great episode on Mass Effect. That was
Oh,
you
thank
just
you.
you put just a lot of
You know,
effort. And I enjoyed that episode a lot. It was awesome.
I spent a long time like riling Alan up before. Like every chat
Oh,
we
how
had, it
could
was
Yeah,
you
just like
not?
it's okay. It's like it's a fine game. It's
yeah,
whatever. It's like oh, it's no Final Fantasy, and then he just like he actually got to the point where instead of like softly defending it, he just started telling me to fuck off, and I think that actually upped our level of
yeah.
friendship because now whenever I poke fun at him, you'll hear it on like the
Oh
After
yeah.
Dark stuff like that.
Mhm.
Is Alan no longer sits there and says, "Well, whatever." He actually just tells me, "You're gonna die," and I think we become best friends.
I like you killed the gentleman of Retrotopia. Now
Yeah,
he's just
Yeah,
pretty
like the
much.
go fuck yourself guy.
you've broken them. You were like Bane and just
Well, the
Batman
problem is
snapped his
you
back.
can't get under Sam's skin. Sam is so chill.
He really
So
is.
you really can't get under his skin. But Alan, if you poke a little too far into the games he likes, that's where he starts becoming feral and he starts defending the games. But Sam, he's just so relaxed. And like he's at a level where I just absolutely want to be at in my life. I just could never achieve it because Sam is like one ohm away from Zen.
It's almost
The
there.
closest I got was like on the Pokemon Legends ZA New Game Plus we did. Just because we were so polar opposites because I'm a freaking homer when it comes to
Mhm.
Pokemon. And that was the closest I got to getting him like actual fired up.
So
I'm just like, no, you're wrong. It's great. And let me tell you why and what you were doing
I
wrong.
I
Just the best of
never
them.
I never told Sam this, but somebody
Oh.
DM'd me and said you and Sam sound like you're going to blows over Warcraft. Because I apparently like during the episode I
I
said
did it.
something and it sounded like Sam like was offended and came at me, and it was just like I don't remember what that was because our conversation was very civil. And if
Mhm.
that happened, like Sam never let me know it at the time, but somebody said, yeah, it just literally sounded like I offended him, and I was like, oh no. It's like,
No.
do I break the Zen?
I don't think it's possible, man.
No.
Yeah,
We'll find the right game. Something will break him.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say, what are you playing right now? Like outside of Expedition 33, do you got anything on the go? Because I got Mouse PI for hire, and there's going to be a new game plus on that. I just finished
Nice.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, and
You go,
that
Randy.
up to
Yeah. I mean, right now, I'm doing my platinum cleanup for Expedition 33, and I'm going to keep that
platinum
going.
cleanup. God, you trophy hunters.
I know.
Good luck to you.
I'm such a focused gamer where like I run one at a time and I obsess over it until it's all the way done. But only if I'm enjoying it. I don't platinum everything. You know what I've actually fired up was the EA Skate, the free to play, to just check it out. I never played the skate games. I don't know if either of you had.
Is that the one where you can do like ridiculous drops from like the top of buildings?
Mhm.
And okay, my son is playing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the mechanics of it are actually pretty fun and addictive. It's like I think it's pitched as a more realistic skating compared to your Tony Hawk, which is a little more arcadey. The gameplay is fun, but the free to play stuff, there's a lot of roughness around the edges for sure. And it's a live service. So I've just been kind of dabbling in it because I've been interested, and I'm like, it's free. It's not going to cost me anything. I might as well check it out. But I don't know what's coming up next for me. I mean, I'm pretty interested. I think if I were to put money on it, I think I'm going to play my first ever Resident Evil game next. And go with the very first one in advance of the movie coming out later this year. But I know nothing. All I know is that there is something that is called Raccoon City. And I know that there's a guy named Leon. And I know that there is a game that contains a scene with a chainsaw or a scary person with a chainsaw. That's all I know.
And don't forget about the umbrellas.
I won't. Let me write that down.
With how narrative driven you are, that's going to be a trip for you. You're going to have
oh
a
my
ball.
God. Stories and video games are the whole reason I play video games. Joe, what are you playing?
I've been pinballing lately. So I, out of left field, just picked up and beat Brutal Legend out of nowhere because I was like, why not? I haven't played that in years. And I picked up Monster Hunter Stories because I never did that. Because I play a ton of Monster Hunter, like regular. But I was like, I don't know what Stories is about. Jumped into that and the gameplay got too repetitive and boring for me, and I just got churned out on it. And then I picked up that Sword Art game that just came out on PS
Sword
Plus
Art
for free.
Online?
Yeah, I was like, it's free. Why not? Sitting there, and
Well,
I'm about
there's
getting
a couple
tapped on that too.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, and the anime is actually
there's
pretty
tons.
good if you go through the entire thing. But it's one of those, you either like it or you hate it. There's no in between.
Yeah, it's just doing the same thing, and I'm like, I can't. So I don't know. I'm gonna start looking again here soon and figure out something else, or when in doubt, fire up another Pokemon.
Yeah,
There you
Brian,
go,
what about you?
Yeah.
I need to pick that up still.
Yeah, my son almost, like, it was his birthday yesterday, and he got to pick a game he wanted to buy, and I would buy it for him. And he was playing that game at Best Buy, and he's like, I want this game. And I was like, you sure, buddy? Because like I have the only Switch 2 in my office. I don't mind him borrowing it, like taking it to play the game. I have no problem with it. But he likes Oculus, and he ended up going for the cheaper Oculus game, like Score.
Nice.
Man, yeah, I'll pick something up here soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. Right. What are you playing, Brian?
Oh, God. I'm just playing Mouse PI for hire and just then games for the podcast. Bubsy.
Yeah.
Fuck Bubsy.
Yay.
I'm going to take this pencil. I'm going to insert it in my ear and forget everything about Bubsy because fuck that game. I have to finish it. I'm pretty far into the game right now, not by choice, simply by sheer like spite. And I am so done with it that like by the time this episode comes out, Bubsy will be out. So I don't have to hold back. It sucks so bad. And it hurts that it sucks so bad. And I think this is going to be another one of our Cool Borders episodes. So prepare to make Bubsy farting shirt there, Joe.
I got you, man.
Can we do it?
It is May 2026, and this is another episode of RetroBytes Neo, and this is episode 5 of this year, where we started in January 2026, and this time we are talking about video game movie adaptations, and of course, we have Joe as the faithful co-host of this, and we have invited from Read, Watch, Play podcast, Randy, one half of the dynamic duo there, who is absolutely fantastic when it comes to adaptations of books, movies, and video games. Randy, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be back and excited to talk about something other than The Wizard, which I did enjoy discussing with you guys.
Was it you that we had on The Wizard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so long ago.
That was really long ago.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's a one of your top listened to podcast. I can't imagine, because it feels like that's a very niche episode.
You're gonna make me look it up now, but
already
that movie was like part of my childhood. I was so excited to do that episode. Then I rewatched it, and you know when you have this idea of something being so great, and all of a sudden you see it again as an adult, and it's like my childhood is ruined.
Yeah,
I
had that with
basically the
George to the Jungle, the Brendan Fraser movie from the 90s.
Oh, don't tell me they're bad.
It's not good. It's not good.
I watch those all the time.
Yeah,
they brought me such happy joy.
I still love Brendan, but that
he's a good dude.
Land as well. He is a good dude. I mean, I don't know him, but he seems like a good dude.
Now let's just keep acting like you do. Come on, you got that pull. It's fine. Yeah, you totally know Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, I totally have a beer with him.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But the Wizard was interesting.
Now you got to admit that's not a direct adaptation, but it was the movie that introduced me to Super Mario Brothers 3, because before that movie, Super Mario Brothers 3 was never announced. That movie was what brought that into North America, that told us young kids, our little adolescent minds, that Mario was going into a third game. It was mind-blowing with that little autistic kid.
Yeah, and it just feels like something that would never happen anymore. Like, I couldn't imagine a movie coming out to announce and like promo a console. Like, it just feels like a bygone time. Is that the phrase? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
we're gonna say this.
I will be fair. That movie would never happen back then either. They like somebody taking their kid to go to a video game tournament. It's so surreal. It could only happen in the 80s and early 90s.
It's a fever dream.
It really is.
Of the best kind.
But I can't find the numbers. I'm not going to look it up any further. Okay. Let's just say it was the best episode we ever had, and all those like 50 above it are just garbage. I'll give a shout out to Super Dave, because I did an episode of Xenoblade Chronicles with him, and that's sitting at our number 2 highest listened to episode right now.
I gotta play this.
Seriously? Games. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Super Dave is fucking fantastic. If you never listened to the Anime Field Guide and you love anime, go check it out.
I was just there. Check it out.
Okay, well, skip an episode.
I'll wait till next month.
Hey, it was about a movie adaptation, so
that is true. Speaking of which, we are talking about video game movie adaptations, and we're doing it loosely. We're not sitting there going to be very specific, because there is so many adaptations. It's not fair to sit there and say we've seen them all. So we're going to take our interpretations on what makes a good adaptation, what has failed as an adaptation, and why Uwe Boll sucks. And if you don't know Uwe Boll, he is one of the worst directors who has fucked up so many video game adaptations that it's just I can't even begin to describe them. So let's start with the big picture question. What makes video game adaptations so historically inconsistent in quality? Why do we have ones like The Last of Us and Fallout that are absolutely bangers versus 1993 Super Mario Brothers that just misses the mark? Like, how would you describe this? Like, in your personal opinion, what makes a good adaptation? Randy, well, let's start with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go for it.
I'll start with the kind of your first question there of what has made them go wrong in the past. And I think that is the motivations of producers and financiers of these movies are typically not aligned with the fans.
Mm-mm.
And I think if you're a studio head, you probably have three reasons you make a movie. You want to make money, you want the prestige for your studio to win an award, or you have a serious passion for the project. I'm going to go on a limb and say that most studio heads in the 90s and the early 2000s did not have a passion for video games and were not planning to win awards with these movies. So they were about making money. And to do that, you
Yeah,
find a broad audience and things just
Yeah.
get watered down.
I'm
big time.
I'm gonna jump on that, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
simply say that studio heads today still don't have that passion, but they have the intelligence to realize that you can make more money by catering to the fandom.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Because most studios today are owned by hedge funds, and that's why we don't see a lot of original like stories and ideas, and that's why we're seeing a lot of these adaptation is it's all about the money. That's why you get Scream. What are we on? 7, 8, 9?
Yeah,
So
it was 7 that just came out, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's safety. It's
hmm
comfortable for
Yeah.
them.
I mean, and that safety is a big thing. I mean, because if you're a young filmmaker or a screenwriter and you're trying to build a body of work, one way that you can get your movie greenlit is by attaching it to pre-existing IP.
That's
Mm-hmm.
And
true.
video
Yeah.
games are an avenue that you can say to a studio, hey, there's already a built-in fan base, let me run with this. And that person, I in a way I don't overly blame them because they're just trying to get their career started, but they're using it as a stepping stone as people would in any other job. But then for people who are fans of that, it kind of sucks, and it's like, you don't really care about this, so
It's a
it's
stepping
unfortunate.
stone that like a fan base is extremely passionate about, and there's like
Yeah,
hundreds of millions of people. And it's like, yeah, it's safe. People will check this out, but
but
it's like you're gonna disappoint this many people, and
hmm
that's dragging your name through the mud. And now where are you at? Was
but
it
you got
worth
to
it?
look at other things as well. I mean, there's passionate fandom, and then there's studio interference. Let's call them what they are.
That's true.
So
hmm
movies don't. Well, they do cater to the fandom, but at the same time, the studio always wants to bring in people who aren't gamers into that world. So you have
hmm
movies that cater to the non-players and at the expense of the fandom, and that's where movies tend to fail. If you look at Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, I think that's the name of the movie.
hmm
Uh, the biggest
Mm,
problem with that is you have a lot of Final Fantasy fans out there that was looking for a Final Fantasy story, and then they ended up with this sci-fi, overly CGI, because it's realistic movie that just didn't land the mark with the fandom, and the people who didn't understand Final Fantasy to begin with just weren't drawn into it. So
hmm
it's just kind of balance that the studios just have never been able to fully adapt to, but until recently, where you got things like The Last of Us and Fallout, which just seems to hit the mark with both fans of the media and people being brought into the media itself.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be honest, I'm an optimist, in life, and I do see, uh, in the night, with I'm sure we're going to talk about the original Super Mario Bros. Movie,
oh,
and
we
even the
are.
ones that were coming out in the early 2000s. These were also made by people that really didn't grow up with video games in their life.
Yeah.
These
Yeah, they
were
did.
more established, directors at this point who didn't really have that I mean, video games in terms of a medium, it's still pretty new and it's still young, especially in comparison to books and movies. So I am hopeful that adaptations that are coming now, they're being made by people who grew up with video games in their life and maybe have an actual passion for the hobby, which I think can lead to good things. And I think we have been seeing that turn around a little bit. So
Mm.
that's my optimistic take.
And then we have the Gundam movie. Lead casting is Sydney Sweeney. So I mean, there's still cash grabs coming around the corner, but
There's
that's
going to
not
be a
video
couple
games.
of boobies in the new Gundam movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
It's
think
the only reason I know her name is because she dropped a
boobs.
gear. Yeah. Like I would not know who she is except for like I jump online like who is Sydney Sweeney, and then all of a sudden it's just like naked pictures. I'm like, oh, okay.
she is also attached to Split Fiction movie, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how.
Is she really?
hmm
Oh,
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
unfortunate.
Okay, so
Scary.
how about I present this question to you guys? Should the adaptations prioritize the faithful should the adaptations prioritize faithfulness to the source, or should they do a standalone story to bring in people? Like, what is it? Fallout's telling a very standalone story. The
Hmm.
person who's doing the Far Cry TV adaptation has said he's going to do a standalone story based around the, the stuff Far Cry has presented to him, in order to not just copy the game story, because games have their story and fandoms are very like vicious if their story is messed up. So do you think it
Hmm.
should be faithful, or do you think a standalone story is better?
it it varies game to game, I think, because games like Fallout and Far Cry, where yeah, there's a story, but they're also games that just go do whatever the hell you want at the same time. And those, you're better off just probably, yeah, go in the universe. Here's the rules of the universe, but yeah, make your own story along the way and figure out something and stuff, following the silent protagonist that's your character throughout the whole thing. And for your more story driven games, yeah, maybe you should probably stick closer to the source material and everything. Like the the more recent Sonic movie and recent Mario movies, they totally just stuck to the source material and they turned out to be pretty dang good movies, I feel like. But I don't know. Randy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think if I were one of these studio heads, I feel like the first question I would ask myself is, what is the strength of this story, or not the story, but
Mm,
of this intellectual property, and why do people love this? And make sure I can put all of my energy into translating that. And I think that is where the new Mario movie went well, because they know that the world of Mario is what is important to people who love Mario. They love the characters, they love all the different versions of the games, whether it's your Mario Karts or your Mario Tennis. They love, the Luigi and Mario dynamic. That's what's important and what matters to people. For something like Fallout, it is also the world. Like, people love that retro futurism, hokey dokey Bethesda world, and they're not too concerned with, like you said, Joe, them following the exact narrative beats of one specific game.
no.
Where for The Last of Us, I think if you were to start out with a standalone story, I think people would be a little upset, because they're like, the real strength of this and the reason that I care about this game is because I
Yeah.
care about this story. And I think they could eventually branch off and tell a standalone, but I'd be sitting there if someone greenlit my movie and I'd say, what? Why do people love this, and what do I really have to get right first, so that people who do love this world can appreciate whatever I'm trying to make.
No, I like what you said there, because if you take The Last of Us, very story centric game, like
Big fan.
without the story, Last of Us is just a generic Uncharted game.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Fallout, however, has built a universe. They've alluded to all the different vaults, so you can pick any vault and you can build a story around it, as long as you use that, like you said, a post-apocalyptic 1930s steampunkish type aesthetic, and
Hmm.
that's what worked really well with it. But I think movies like Street Fighter are better for adaptations, because the story is so loose that
Hmm.
you can really put what you want in there to fill in the blanks. Whereas something like The Last of Us, and you said it perfectly, Randy, if you're not exact to it, the fandom is going to jump all over you. And we've all heard about the vicious fandom there that absolutely
Hmm.
like review bombs anything they don't like.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just literally the way the world is. So the less story like IP has, I think the easier it is probably to adapt.
Hmm. I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think that is where people are having success now, is um, what are worlds that people care about, that have interesting stories that can be told, that aren't directly tied to maybe the
Mm.
main narrative of the game, because people's then guards are a little bit down, where they're just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm interested to see and spend time in this world I love, and I'm not too caught up on the plot beats that I know and care about, where if you deviate from that in a very story driven game, you're gonna bother people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I
do
agree.
you think adaptations work better as a 10 episode TV series or a mini series, or do you think movies are the way to go?
I would always go series myself. I mean, I'll binge just about anything if it's in front of me, but it gives you more time to fully develop your stories, your characters, and everything you want to cover. If you're stuck into a movie, you're stuck into 2 hours
3 acts over.
tops,
Yeah.
2.5. Yeah, 3 acts on top of it too. So it's like you got to hit a lot of stuff, or no, you're gonna have like 6 movies, which that's a lot for to ask your fan base to sign up for. So for me, I would always go with the series, fully flesh out, take your time, and cover all the bases you want to cover and what your fan base is looking for.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. As a even as a movie guy, I think the stakes are a little lower in TV.
Yeah,
You have time to correct. You have usually it's a little less intense on the budget side in terms of what you're trying
that's
to
true
make.
too.
You're not trying to squeeze this in. You have this, Pedro Pascal, or I guess, he's in the, the TV show, but if you're having him for a movie, he's in everything these days. So he's going to be
Yeah,
moving on to something else. So like if you mess up your shoots or, you get the film back and you're reviewing and you're like, actually, this kind of sucks. You don't really have the opportunity to go back and redo that. Where I think with TV, you can correct a little bit if you
hmm
realize the fans aren't liking the way something is going. You can have another season to have another shot at that.
I was gonna say, yeah, your
Um,
season
so,
breaks is where you can fix it exactly.
yeah, you can make some
Yeah.
corrections. And like you said, I mean, games these days, I mean, not even just these days, but games have always been, especially a story driven game, you're going to put in a decent amount of hours to that and trying to fit that into a one movie. It's hard to do that and have it come
Yeah,
across what people really loved about it to begin with. It's tough.
Yeah, and
yeah.
yet they keep trying, which begs a question: should game developers have creative control over their adaptations, or should the studios be able to muddle them in order to create their 2 hour movie?
I really think
What's important to the studio, the people who created the game, versus what should be presented in a movie? That's kind of what I'm asking here.
You want to take it, Joe?
I thought it did.
I
I
think I
would
broke them.
say, yeah, a little bit. You started using big words. I got confused. Um, I would say 9 times out of 10, a developer probably should have not full creative control, but a 70-30 kind of percent relationship. Like they should have a lot of say, a lot of like they developed the story. They know what they created these characters. They know what works for them, what doesn't. Your studio head typically does not unless they're a invested fan, which most times is not the case. So having the developers just take the lead and a lot of times in I don't know, steering the ship, I feel like would go a lot smoother for a lot of these projects and have a lot less angry fans. Hey, the guy that made this thing that I like made this movie. Okay, I'm on board from the hop and trust where this is going to go.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it's hard to sit here and think of
I
a
couldn't.
downside to involving the creators,
Yeah.
even if they're not showrunners or even if they're not the main writer, because maybe screenwriting for a movie, they don't have that skill compared to writing for the game.
Yeah, it's
But having
different.
them involved, I mean, that is one that's an early signal to
Mm-hmm.
fans that we care about where this came from by involving the creators. That's just like that is such an easy trust win for fans
Yeah.
that I just don't know why you wouldn't do that to begin with. And I think it gives those creators a second pass to think about, like, if there are changes, maybe they're thinking through and working things, or maybe they're like, I don't know if I quite did this right. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting to have people come back and review their own work and make some tweaks. It happened in the first season of The Last of Us. I'm sure it happens in a lot of these other adaptations, but I think it's cool that somebody can, get a second try, after their work's been out and see how it goes. So I don't see the harm in involving any of the creators other than, like, people who just don't want to have to listen to somebody.
That's probably the problem 9 times out of 10 is these studio heads don't want to have someone over them. They just want to, you know, sail the ship.
Yeah.
hmm
No, it's I think back to our discussion on Ready Player One,
Hmm.
and
Mm,
I joined you, Randy, on your podcast with Sam. I was overly critical of the movie because I really dig the book,
Hmm.
and
yeah.
the movie just didn't live up to my expectations because I built up this fan with my fan mind. I built up this what the movie should be in my brain to the
Hmm.
point where anything that did not meet that high level of what I had would be a failure. And then I found out Ernest Cline, the person who wrote the book, was also the person who adapted it to a screenplay. Now, since we had that conversation, I went back and I kind of looked inside myself, and I started to realize that it works better as a movie the way it is because the book would work better as a TV series because you need to stuff a lot of
Hmm.
information into a 2 hour movie in order to get what the book presents. So
Hmm.
I've turned around and I actually really enjoy the movie again, or now I suppose. So apologize to Nick for me because I shit on him. Um, so I look at that as kind of, if the studio, if you let the people who've created the video game be part of the adaptation, they can tell you what's really important and what kind of can be cut.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's really good to bring them in as it's like bringing a cop into a like the Rookie. You need
Hmm.
somebody to tell you what a cop actually does, and then you base your show around that kind of idea. So it's the same idea. You let somebody who understands the source material tell you what's important and cut what's not important, and then that you can build a movie around that. So that will bring you that 24-hour game down to a nice 2 hour movie that tells the story that the game would tell in that long time. I don't
Yeah.
know if I made
Yeah.
sense there. I kind of like started
No, it did.
circling the drain.
No, totally, totally makes sense. I mean, I think that's a great point. I mean, I even noticed your feelings changing on Ready Player One, the movie, as we did that. You came out a little bit higher by the time we finished that episode than when we started. And I think that is an important piece of adaptations that I've learned is that you kind of need that second pass at them as a viewer because sometimes
Yeah.
that first viewing, if it's
Yeah.
something I really care about, like my defenses are so up where if I start noticing things that like
Yeah.
are deviating, it's hard for me to just sit there and enjoy it. And
That was
after
the
the second
problem.
time, I'm fine. I'm cool.
See, I remember sitting
Yeah.
in the theater. My wife was away on business, so I was by myself. So I had nobody to bitch to. I
Yeah.
had my popcorn, I had my soda. I was sitting there and I was ramped up. I was like, this is going to be the best thing I've ever seen in my life because I love this book so much. And then it started, and the first thing they did was jump to the first key on a race. And I was like,
Yeah.
what
Entirely
the fuck
different.
is going on? And all of a sudden, I just turned into like a negative Nelly the entire
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
And I sat there like, this is stupid. But yeah,
But
it
like you're
just,
saying, yeah, you can't cover that all of like everything in that story in the
no.
beginning in a movie. It makes sense
Yeah. But
because
going
yeah,
back to it, again, after having seen the whole movie, know exactly what's going on, I see them now as separate stories.
Mhm.
yeah,
I see the movie took everything important from the book, but I still find the book better. And I'm pretty sure every adaptation you've done, Randy, you've always found the book to be more better because it has more detail.
For the most
Now,
part, but I would say you have reached what you just said. You have reached the enlightened state in so much faster than I did doing this entire podcast, where it's like you I've realized that it's okay for things to be different sometimes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I if it is a good story that is being told to me and I feel like there is love and care shown, there's something that I can still enjoy here. And I'm interested and open to that. If I really, really want to go see, the story of this game that I love, I can just go play the game.
yeah.
That's fine.
yeah.
So
Well,
I've loosened up a little bit. It took me a lot longer than you to get there, but I did.
okay. Well, let's move on to a little bit forward here on
Yeah.
something that's related to this. Uh, how do you translate player choice and interactivity into a passive format? Like, how would you do it? You play a Final Fantasy, you play The Last of Us. Actually, The Last of Us is probably the best example. You've got that entire story in your brain, but the entire time you're Joel,
Mhm.
How do you get the viewer to feel the same thing a player does, or is that even important?
It's the $1,000,000 question.
Yeah,
I
I broke
I don't know.
Joe
It's a
again.
different. It's a different medium, so it's like I don't think you need to feel what the player. It's such a different thing to write for. I would
Well,
imagine.
have you ever watched a movie where you felt you're part of the movie? That's a good question. Like I
Mm,
can't think of any examples personally,
yeah.
but there has to be something out there that, like the Blair Witch Project. Let's take that.
Mhm.
They really tried to make you feel as part of the movie with the found footage
Mhm.
Yeah.
format that they used.
Yeah.
So,
Ye
can you make a audience member feel part of the movie?
They have
Not.
tried some
Yeah.
choose your own adventure type movies on Netflix.
Oh, the Black
Um,
Mirror. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
actually pretty good.
um, and to varying success. I can't remember the names of all of them to try and capture some of um, that choice that is so integral to being a gamer and is why
Hmm.
we develop such strong relationships to these characters and games that we love because we are them. And as you say, I don't watch James Bond, and I think as much as I would like to be, I don't think I am James Bond as I'm watching this movie. That's not what happens. Outside of sitting there probably drinking whiskey. Um, but that's hard. I mean, it is hard to translate that because games are the most interactive form of storytelling. And when I play Uncharted, a series that I deeply love, I
Hmm.
love it because I am getting to live out this adventure fantasy as Nathan Drake and
Yep.
go on, cool explorations. But if I reverse engineer that into a movie where I'm not really Nate and I'm just watching it, it just kind of feels like a little bit of a store brand Indiana Jones. And like
Kind
it
of.
doesn't quite land as
Well,
hard for me. Um, it's hard to change that connection, and get that to come across in a movie or a TV show.
Yeah,
well,
and I don't think you're going to. It's such a different medium. It's like that's what games are trying to capture is to put you in the perspective of this character and you're along for the ride. You're driving the ship 9 times out of 10. So it's like
Mhm.
trying to do that in a movie where you're trying to appeal to a broad audience in an hour and a half to 2 hour time frame, not 15 hours. It's just not going to happen, and you don't have control. You're just along for the ride when it comes to a movie. it,
Mhm.
it I feel like it's like they very much need to stay in their lanes, kind of, so to speak. Like,
well,
it,
let's take that Uncharted that Randy mentioned here. What about the right actor for the right movie? Do you think Tom Holland really encapsulate Nathan Drake versus somebody like Nathan Fillion?
Yeah, I wish Fillion. I mean, that fan made movie is so great. I mean, I
I never
mean,
saw
I am
that.
so biased.
Yeah,
Uncharted 2 is my
Yeah.
favorite
everybody
game of
is.
all time. I love Uncharted so much.
It's outstanding.
So I weirdly watched the movie before ever playing any of the games, which was just weird
Mhm.
perspective. It was a weird way to go through and digest that whole thing. And I heard about the fan made movie after. I still have never sat down and watched it yet, but I heard it's just the right way to do it. Tom Holland
Mhm.
was a weird choice. I was watching that movie the whole time, like, why am I watching Spider Man go on, like you said earlier, Randy,
It's
budget
not
Indiana
even that.
Jones?
It's Tom Holland looks like a teenager. He could be 45 right now and he
Mhm.
still looks like a teenager. That's
And
why,
why the hell was Marky Mark Sully?
yeah, but that's why Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man is because he looks like the
Yeah,
15-year-old that Spider-Man is. However, he does not make for a great Nathan Drake, who is a more robust, manly man.
yeah,
Mhm.
Like that's what took me out of that movie. And again, Marky Mark there being Sully,
that
who's
was
supposed to be
weird.
this old man, just it's taking popularity over, what's the word I'm looking for, over authenticity.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough because there's I have a lot of empathy for the people who actually, go about making movies, the actors in them and, the set designers and the production design. I I think that it is so hard, and it's so hard to get right because you don't know how things are going to actually turn out. And once you see how they turn out, you can't really go back and change them because you're moving on to the next shoots. And so I respect what's happening and the complexity of it, but it's like, man, some of those choices, they just feel like such misfires. And yeah, this is the thing. It's a dumb thing, but I was big mad when Soleil didn't have a mustache. It's so minor,
Yeah.
but I was big
Oh, come
mad.
on, he did
And
it in
then
the
it
post
and
credits.
then
That
it comes
counts, right?
around it comes around at the end, and they made, I'm like, okay, you got me. You got me. But to that defenses things, my defenses were, I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you it just felt like a spiteful change.
But he needs to go to the Mission Impossible. Who played Superman? Who's
Oh, David Cornsweat?
no, the guy before him, the Witcher guy.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
Randy, you're our only hope on figuring this one out. Don't look at me.
oh,
I
Google is
know.
there too.
No, Google can't help you. Stop it.
Uh,
Like the Man of Steel Superman.
yeah, fuck, his name's escaping me.
Yeah,
All right,
so
while you're
Henry
looking that up.
Cavill. Henry
Oh,
Cavill,
never
the
mind.
the
Oh,
the
yeah.
Wolverine there, or the
Yeah.
Calvary.
Oh, yeah.
But you ever watch that Mission Impossible where he's in the bathroom there and he does the arm cock, like the famous arm
yeah.
cock
Oh,
there, and all
yeah.
of a sudden he grows a beard and like a shirt pocket?
Yeah, I would say, and a shirt pocket.
Yeah.
I love that.
Sorry, like you're talking about like faithful adaptations and the amount of effort these people put into, and that's every time somebody mentions that, that's the first
Yeah.
thing that pops into my mind. That's a great scene. That was
It is
filmed
a
in
great scene.
Winnipeg when I lived there. It was
That's a
That's
great
awesome.
that's a great
yeah.
Mission
Henry
Impossible
Cavill was in
movie.
town, and you could tell because the river rose for all the wet women. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you.
Yeah. So, okay. So the complexity of a story is actually like a big point here. Do you think movies would benefit from having multi-part movies like a MCU or the 3 attempts at the DCU? Do you think a video game adaptation could actually build a multi-movie franchise?
We're seeing Nintendo try.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
I mean, there's no escaping. I haven't even seen the new Mario movie, but yeah, it looks like they're going for the Smash Bros, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean they're loosely basing it around a universe story as opposed to I'm talking something
Thought
like let's say The Last of Us was adapted into a movie as
Mhm.
opposed to a TV show. Do you think it could have survived a multi-movie run?
Not a
That's
story
hard.
that complex, I don't think. There would have been too much time in between movies and everything. I feel like it would have fell off. And also, how many movies would that take to do it right? Would they stop at 3? Probably. But, I mean, to do that story right, you need a lot of time. Like, what, The Last of Us, like a 30-something hour game, probably?
Oh
And
god.
that's played, like, at a normal pace, not just, like, going through everything.
I think you're south of 20 on that game.
Am I really? I don't remember now. It's been a minute. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
I think
it's-
that one needed to be a series.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. If I could dream into an existence. Sorry, I just smacked my mic. There's a hand talking. If I could go back in time, and don't get me wrong, I love the Dune movies. But if you were to take somebody like Denis Villeneuve and say, here is the Mass Effect trilogy, translate that
Whoa.
into a Lord of the Rings style trilogy, that would be extremely exciting to me. Somebody who understands how to take dense material, translate it, and just give this vision that just is so, I mean, it is page to screen. And I would love to see something like that. So it's
Yeah.
possible, but you have to get like the most competent of competent directors and writers, in those projects.
So what you're
So
saying
many
is you
things
need
need to
a
fall into
French
place.
Canadian.
You do need a French
Yeah.
Canadian, yeah.
What
Uh,
about silent protagonists like the Zelda movies coming out? Do you think having a silent
Weird.
protagonist talking or developing a personality where the entire idea of a silent protagonist is that you, the
mhm.
player, take on the role of that silent protagonist? You are Zelda, or not Zelda, you are Link, you are Chrono, you are insert silent protagonist here that I actually had a list in my mind that completely blanked. Now you turn that into a movie, all of a sudden those personalities are being developed. Do you think that is good for franchises? Is that good for the development of the entire universe they're building?
GTA 3 was the first one I thought I thought of when you said the silent protagonist. I don't know why I always think of our guy Claude as I think that's his name in GTA 3.
Think so.
But I think what it does though, it does give a more blank slate for a movie for your main character. Because I think what happens a lot with adaptations, especially video game characters, the first thing that comes out are characters. You see who was cast. You would get Sophie Turner as Lara Croft, and people have
Boo,
strong feelings one way or the other.
boo.
The original Sonic. You remember when Sonic was first,
Oh my
Oh, Big
released?
Teeth
And
Sonic.
so like there is immediate judgment, based on those, and that can really sway the feelings of whatever is coming out. So I think it could benefit a movie that there's a little bit more of a blank slate with a silent protagonist. But I'm interested. I'm young and novice in my Zelda journey, so I don't have a big horse in this race, but I'm very interested to see how this is going to go. And because
Yeah.
this is a one of the most passionate fan bases in gaming, Zelda.
Oh yeah,
I
it's up there.
got like a concept of that is that Link is almost a completely developed character through the many, many, many games we've
Mhm.
played him as. He's always the same type of guy. So as long as they stick to the ideology of what Link is, they might
Yeah.
nail it. But if they got a very narrow path to follow, if they veer outside that path, well, like you said, the fandom is coming down.
Well, would you say Link has a developed personality? Because to me, Link doesn't have much of any personality, so you, the player, can fulfill that role.
So
I,
the idea is whenever you
no, I'm
have an
curious.
option to answer yes or no, you're speaking
Yeah.
for the character, right? So
Yeah.
that's where you subconsciously develop this character. You're making the choices. You're developing the character in your mind based on your morality. If you
Yeah,
play a
but
character that has morals, like a moral compass, and then you're making the yes or no choices or the good or bad choices, you're developing the character in your mind. You're subconsciously putting yourself into the character.
and that works for like games like Mass Effect and stuff, but Legend of Zelda games are linear stories.
Oh,
You're
Mass
gonna
Effect
choose.
doesn't count. Like Shepard does not shut up.
Okay, yeah, but my point being is your hero Link is always going to choose the yes hero option. You're not really given a choice. You're not really developing this character.
Well, sure you
It's
are. You can finish the game or you can turn it off. Turn it off, Zelda dies.
I guess I don't know. I don't look at it that way. I
This
just
is spoilers for Ocarina of Time, so
Yeah,
for
if you're not-
Ocarina of
the
Time.
brand new Ocarina of Time.
if you're not aware of this, I just
Randy,
played
I
this
have
game.
a list of spoilers to put a warning for. I'm adding Ocarina of Time.
Do it.
Sure, why not?
Do it.
Oh god, everyone run! Andy's about to drop the biggest spoiler about Ocarina of Time the world's ever seen! Run for the hills! Oh god, he's about to say it! Spoiler warning for Ocarina of Time, apparently.
Play this game for the first time in the past 2 years. Blew my mind that person was Zelda the whole time. I could not
Oh,
believe
yeah.
it.
Randy.
I was shook. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
I knew before I played the game that it was ruined for me. Like, if you had Nintendo Power, eventually you're going to get spoilers, right? You
Yeah.
go through the magazine while you're taking your like childhood dump, and it gets ruined because there's always like a guide, and you're like, fuck, it's ruined for
Wait.
me.
Did you not play Smash Brothers Melee ever?
I didn't have a GameCube.
There you go. I was gonna say, like, that's what ruined it for me. I missed Ocarina of Time until a little bit later, not as far as you, but I played Melee growing up, so I was like, oh, Zelda turns into this. Okay, and then you see the two characters, like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my world was shook. If they do that in the movie, I'll tell you what, I'll be happy.
So
I'm happy for you that was a surprise now.
So we touched on the fandom, basically, whether the movie lives or dies. We also seen the fandom actually make a movie better, and the Sonic, we all know ugly Sonic, who you can see in Chip and Dale still, if you've ever
That's
seen Rescue
hilarious.
Rangers. But he was Big Tooth, ugly Sonic, and the fandom just said no. So they went back to the drawing board and they redeveloped them, and the movie became gangbusters. Like,
Yeah.
it just absolutely took off. So do you think the studios really need to focus on the fan backlash when they present something, or do you think the studios should just, stay the course and say people are going to like this anyways?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. The thing that happened with Sonic is not the norm. That should not have worked. Like, just listening to the fan base of like, oh, this is terrible. What are you doing? Because 9 times out of 10, the fan base has no clue what they're talking about. It's just a mob of very angry, passionate people that have a soapbox on the internet. But like, yeah, hearing, being willing to hear creative criticism throughout the process is good, but yeah, doing a full redesign like that is, you can't do that every time, and there was no guarantee that was going to work. And the fact that it did and went as well as it did is unheard of.
Yeah, it is a unique story.
It really is.
I would say, is is it important as a creative team to be in touch with what matters to your fan base? 100%.
Oh yeah.
Do you need to appease every angry gamer on Reddit, which I count myself among them? Probably not. You can ignore me for the most part. Um, especially in the days that, Brian, I forget what we were chatting about earlier in this episode when you alluded to the review bombing, but there's so much of that these days that
Yeah.
you can't be too reactive to these people. And you have to have some guts and stick to your vision a little bit. But for something like that, like, you cannot likely mess up your main character design
No,
when it
that was
comes to
bad.
Sonic.
Yeah, well, I mean, Sonic has been adapted through decades, be
Mhm.
it cartoon or live action. So the fact that they decided to reinvent the wheel was kind of
Mhm.
their undoing on that one. So thank God they actually took the time to listen and say, hey, we're going to pull back here and fix this. Because the reality was, all they had to do was reskin a 3D model. Everything was already done. So it probably
Yeah.
didn't take them as long as they alluded to. But I really believe that if you're going to take something that people are passionate about, you really got to take the time to draw the audience that's going to come see it and please them, because they're the people that are going to drag their families to go watch it.
100%.
They're your new audience grabbers. They're going to take their friends, they're going to take their family, they're going to take their kids. They want those people to be part of their world. So if you insult them, so to speak, then that's where these mediums will die, these movies will die, is because they're going to tell their family to stay away. And
Mhm.
again, Uwe Boll is a master of making people not want to like adaptations.
Mhm.
Monster Hunter the movie. I dragged so many people to that tire fire. I was one of those. It's just like, I love this. I got you into this game. Come on, this is gonna be great. And it's just, holy hell. I 2 hours of just people wandering in a desert. Kill me now. That was so bad.
But when it works, it works. I
Yeah.
mean,
When it works, it works.
sitting there and watching that 2023 Super Mario movie in the theater, it was just a big kid smile on my face, for
Oh,
an
the
hour and a
whole
half.
time. Yeah.
But okay, so that brings me to the next point. Like, most video game stories aren't really good enough to adapt. Do you agree or disagree with that? And can this be a strength where sometimes the plot should be more of a blank canvas rather than faithful to the actual specifics of a game? Like the Mario movie took everything from Mario and created an original story based around it.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that is better a way to adapt, or do you think they should really have stuck to, say, Mario 1, where he went through 8 worlds to find Bowser?
For that one, it wouldn't have worked. For Mario, I think what they did was the right way to do it. Just cover a broad spectrum, a lot of ideas, and just knock it out of the park on nostalgia, and hit all the points. Throw Mario Kart references in there. Just touchstone on everything was the right call, because if you boil down the story of a single Mario game, it's not deep. You're not going to get a complex movie, but a 3-act movie out of that. It's just not going to happen. And just doing your own thing was a much better choice for that.
1993 would like their script back.
Okay. Are we going to take a moment to talk about that? Because I had zero time this week and made the time to watch that dumpster fire
There'll be time. Don't you worry. There'll be time for you to talk about
All right. All right. I'll back off for now.
Yeah, I think there was more story to the 2000 or the 2023 Super Mario movie than I was even heading into that. The dynamic between Mario and Luigi and them as brothers is just everything I could have wanted in this, and it just warmed my child heart to see that movie. And Galaxy, I'd be hard pressed to describe what the actual story of that movie is. Like, it is just vacant of the plot.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, so don't be too specific.
I won't say anything much, but
thank you.
Don't tell me what the story isn't.
Yeah. I couldn't if I tried. So, but I think to some of my points earlier, I think the newer Mario one, it understood what I wanted to get out of that. And Brian, the first thing you asked when I joined is like, what does a good adaptation actually mean? At this point for me, if I'm a fan of the source material, if I can feel that the people who made this have an actual care or love or at least respect to the material for why I paid money to come and sit in this chair in the movie theater and watch this, and I feel entertained, or my love of this world feels even maybe a little bit deeper now that I've seen this, that's a win for me. Do I need a one-to-one story? Not all the time. Do I need to feel like they cared and that I've walked out of this learning something new about a world that I have maybe spent 100 hours in as a fan of this game? That matters to me. And if I feel entertained and I feel like they put some time into it, I'm pretty easy to please, honestly.
That's a great point.
That was really well put. Yeah.
I mean, for the Mario movie, like the first one, it's like Shrek, or it's like all these kid cartoons with adult themes inside of them, where the kids like laugh at the jokes, but the adults see the little extra that they've put in there for keeping the parents entertained. The Easter eggs inside of the Mario movie, the little things you can look at while watching the movie for a second, third, or fourth time, depending on how many times your kid wants to watch the movie that day. You notice all these little things when you stop focusing on where the camera's telling you to look versus all the stuff that's going on around it. And I love that. But you're right in the sense that as long as they're respectful to the source material, which the Mario movie, the newest one, not the 1993 one, the newest one is really respectful to the source material. It really like envelops you inside of that universe. Some movies try to either be too cool or Michelle Rodriguez, how she shows up in a movie and she's always trying to be this tough girl that fights dudes all the time. Well, that kind of really ruined the Resident Evil movie for me, because she was that exact character, like she is in every Fast and the Furious movie she's in. That is just something where it's unneeded, because they need somebody to be like a tough, strong person in a movie that doesn't need it. So they try to add something inside of it that was never there to begin with, just to have this action-oriented thing that Hollywood loves to have so that it draws in audiences. And that's disrespectful to the source material, because if you take something like Resident Evil, where it's a horror movie, why not just make it a goddamn horror movie? Why do you have to have an action scene in it? So I think I lost the plot on this one. I'm kind of all over the place. Nevertheless, my point is, I agree with you 100% when you say they should be respectful to the source material.
Yeah, they don't have to hit every nail on the head. They could have dove into this character a bit better, could have dove into that better, but they respect it along the way. Yeah, and you come out of it happy.
The interesting thing is you had posed, as we were prepping for this, is it okay to change major story elements if the end result is better for a broader audience? And as you were talking about the background details of Mario, I was thinking of this because it's weird that I almost get tripped up more on minor changes than I do major, where with a major change to a story or a source material, it's almost like I'm interested. I'm like, whoa, they have something to say here, or they're taking a different swing at this. When a minor change happens, it just feels like there's a lack of care, um, and a disregard where I don't know, I'm just a person where the details matter. So
Yeah.
seeing all those things in the background of the Mario movie or understanding the
Mhm.
nuances of this world that you see with the Fallout show, where if you are a huge fan of the Fallout world, that show is probably endlessly rewatchable because there is so much love of the Fallout world within there. And that is really important to me, where I feel like if you get the little things right in these adaptations, that goes a long way for me. Where the major story elements, like, sure, do I want you to change the end of The Last of Us? Probably not. But if you're making a change, usually, and you're involving the creator, like maybe you have something to say here, or you're going for a different take on that. And
Yeah.
I could maybe get on board with that
Mhm.
as a person that loves story.
Do you know what bothers me about the first Super Mario Brothers movie from 2023? At
Mm.
no point was the princess ever in danger. She
Mhm.
Yeah.
was better than Mario at the beginning. She's the only person who did not have their cart wrecked in the Mario Kart scene. When Bowser was
Mm.
trying to marry, or when Bowser captured her, sorry, she just went along with it. At the wedding, she saved herself. And then at the very end of it, it's all of a sudden Mario beats Bowser. And it's just like, what was the point of Mario in the Mario Super Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah.
It's that thing where in the Big Bang Theory where Amy Farrah Fowler tells Sheldon that Indiana Jones didn't play any part of the Ark of the Lost Raiders or Raiders of the Lost Ark. Sorry,
Yeah.
if you've ever seen that, I mean, Joe,
Mhm.
clip that in if you can because
Sure.
she she uh, she makes a good point where Indy actually plays no role in the entirety of that movie.
Indiana Jones plays no role in the outcome of the story. Like, if he weren't in the film, it would turn out exactly the same. And if he weren't in the movie, the Nazis would have still found the Ark, taken it to the island, opened it up, and all died. Just like they did.
Yeah, he's just along for the ride.
Yeah, basically, because if he never showed up, they would have found the Ark, they would have opened it, they would have melted. Oh god. Do you think a bad adaptation can actually damage a franchise?
Um,
Do you think
I
movies
wouldn't say
have that much of influence on the entirety of video games?
I don't. I think you're just gonna walk away and be like, they made a crap movie about this thing I love and move on with it because your video game still exists at the end of the day. It's not like this movie replaced that. It's like here's this thing that came alongside, and it's either gonna fall away or keep going alongside it at the end of the day.
I think it bolsters actually the love of the original fans because they say, I have this thing that I was on 10 years ago that I really enjoy. And I love that even more, seeing this other version that wasn't quite as good. So I think for original fans,
Mm-hmm.
it almost strengthens it a little, like it makes the bond a little bit tighter. You know, that happened at the end of Game of Thrones, where all of us pure A Song of Ice and Fire readers on Reddit are like, you know what? We were right the whole damn time. But I think I think there is something here, and I don't know if this is true, but I do find there is a sense of a gamer who really wants the medium of games to be respected in pop culture at large, and that is probably because we grew up in a time where video games were not as cool. They were cool for us, but it
Yep.
wasn't as mainstream as it is today. And there's kind of like this, we want it to be seen that the form of storytelling that can happen in a video game is just as valuable as the form of storytelling that can happen in a book or a movie. And I think it's time for, like, as people who play games, for us to just be like, I don't really care what other people think. Like, I know that these stories are just as good, and I don't need the validation, from someone else to tell me that. So if something flops, it's usually a little bit of an insecurity thing of like, oh, are people not going to like this anymore? And it's like, no, we all still really love
Mm-hmm.
Did I love The Last of Us season 2? Not really. Do I still really love that game? Absolutely, I do.
Yeah. No, well said. I'm going to pose this to both of you.
Okay.
Which video game franchise would you like to see adapted next? I'm going to put you on the hot seat here. No time to think. First one that comes to your mind.
I got one already.
Go,
For
Randy.
it, please. Please save me.
I want to see a psychological movie that adapts Portal.
Oh
Where
my
it's kind
God,
of
that would be so good.
an Ex Machina style, like A24 movie.
I got a movie for you then. It's a
Mm-hmm.
Canadian indie film called Cube. There's
Writing
three
it
of
down.
them. There's,
Literally writing down.
there's Cube, Hypercube, and then Cube Zero. So
Yeah.
Cube is literally a movie based around these people that are like, they just end up inside of this room that's a cube, and there's a door on every plane, so they can go in any direction. But if they go through certain doors, there's traps and they die. So throughout the movie, it becomes a psychological thing as they have to work together. And there's, of course, that one guy who is neurodivergent. It's like the whole time he's sitting there slapping his head going, 2, 2, 2. And it turns out he actually has like some sort of insight in something that's going on. Fantastic movie. I haven't even ruined it for you, but check it out. Cube.
Check it out.
Cube. So if you want a psychological movie like Portal minus the portals, that might be what you're looking for. And I think you might do a deep dive into the entire trilogy of it.
I'm in.
I gave you time to think, Joe.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. I was screwed. You know what I'd like to see is Dark Souls, because not following the main protagonist though, because those worlds have buckets of lore and interesting characters going on, and just being able to deep dive into those more than following your lead protagonist that literally has zero personality would be really interesting. I could see a lot happening with it.
If you want a movie about zero personality, why don't we do one about you? Oh, nailed it. I haven't taken a
ventured
shot
into the
at
Dark
Joe.
Souls world. I gotta get into that. Brian, what franchise would you bring in?
See, that this is where I'm going to throw the wrench in the whole thing. Is I actually don't like adaptations. So I love.
I'm going to pose a question and then choose not to answer.
No,
Thanks,
I'm not going to answer. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to qualify what I just said. You just got to give me a second here. So I love
attacked first.
I love the Fallout series. Like, I absolutely adore it, but it's because it doesn't follow any games. So when I say there's no series I want to be adapted, is because I've seen them fail so many times in my life. And I used to be like an avid, I know that video game. So I'd jump into the movie, and then I got burned like, 90% of the time. So now I really, when they announce another Halo or they announce another video game that I love, like if they said Expedition 33 is going to be turned into a movie, I would completely shut down. The story inside of that game is so grandiose, so specific, that if you're going to crush it into a 2-hour movie or like an hour and a half, as is, tradition for shitty movies, I would be upset that they were not able to capture what that game presented to you. So I go into these adaptations. I don't want to see any video game, because my joy of video games is the story, is the 20, 30-hour story I go into. So that's my answer to this one. Is there is literally no video game to date I want to see as a movie. In fact, there's some video games that have been turned into movies that I really wish weren't. Looking at you, Uncharted.
Yeah.
That's tough.
My heart sank the second you said Expedition 33.
I didn't realize how much in pre-production.
Are you serious?
I think so.
No. I was like, how much I don't want that.
See, that's the problem nowadays. Is the second anything is successful in the video game sphere is they have a Hollywood hedge fund there jump into it to try to make money off it.
The worst thing that happened to it wasn't winning Game of the Year. I get why now, but still.
Yeah.
Damn it. That sucks. I'm really sad now.
Well, that's why I feel like we're in the gold rush of video game adaptations. Maybe not necessarily the golden age.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say that.
That was yeah.
No, that is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to end it on that because we're going to move into the Patreon only game, what I've set up for you guys. So if you want to actually like see the game, there's going to be a video version. It's going to be attached on the end of this. It is over at patreon.com/retrotopia. You can join for free and catch this. But if you're here for just the free feed of this, Randy, thank you very much for joining us. Check him out at Read, Watch, Play Podcast. Absolutely fantastic podcast about movie and book adaptations. Him and Nick literally are the people that put me to sleep every night.
We tuck them in.
Pretty much. You guys are so methodical on how you talk. It's so soothing. So I'm just going to end it here. So thank you very much for listening. Stick around if you're part of the Patreon. If not, check out Retrotopia wherever you get your podcasts. Every Sunday morning is when it shows up. And take care.